What better way to continue to celebrate Earth Day than starting your own backyard vegetable garden? Well, that's what Peter Rabbit is encouraging families to do. So the fun family film, which is now out on DVD and Blu-ray, has teamed up with gardening and landscaping expert Sarah Bendrick, and she joins us from New York this morning with some great gardening tips. Good morning.
Good morning, Carly. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was telling you before we got started, my husband is a produce farmer, so I love getting families involved with maybe starting their own gardens, but it can be a little overwhelming, I think, to go ahead and say, okay, this is what we want to do. What tips for those beginners do you have?
Yeah, gardening can start on so many different levels, and especially if you're trying to get the kids involved, making it affordable, making it fun is definitely where you want to start. So even doing things as simple as using a 2-liter bottle, if you cut the top off and you add drainage on the bottom, you can add soil into there and you can grow something inside, or you can start something here and transplant it outside, especially with these compostable containers. If you plant something inside here, you can take them out later when they're sprouted and plant them in the garden. That way you get a head start and you have a lot more control over them as they're younger, when they're more sensitive, if you start them inside and then bring them outside.
Well, and you know what I love? We should have mentioned this too. Peter Rabbit, I think, can get kids interested in it as well. But for those of us here in Florida, you're in New York. So what are some good things that we here in Florida can maybe start planting and growing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm from San Diego, so I kind of travel all over, and every area is a little bit different. And so when you go shopping at the big box stores, you'll find your different seeds, and they'll tell you on the back like what season is good to plant. And luckily right now we can plant most things, especially for you guys out in Florida. You have a lot more variety than some people. And so even if you do want to plant something outside or inside, if you want to do something inside, you can do herbs all year long. But because it's spring, I would encourage people to go outside doing things like tomatoes, carrots, lettuce, and radishes. Stuff like that are all great. And then starting them in the containers or outside. I like doing raised planter beds because they organize the garden. But there's so many things you can do.
And hey, I want to hear what you did this past weekend, because I heard you were doing a lot of this and encouraging families and little ones to get excited about gardening.
Oh man, Carly, we had a lot of fun this weekend. So what we did is we went to a school in East Harlem where they had this whole asphalt area, and they didn't have a garden at all. And so what we did is we teamed up with Slow Food USA. Peter Rabbit came, which is great because the kids are so excited about him as the movie has just come out on digital. They have seen him, they're excited about him. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were there. So it was just adding that fun element to them to connect them to gardening, and then from gardening connects them to their food source. So what we did is we had these raised planter beds that we built. We added soil, and then we had the kids plant them with seeds, which was really cool. They had so much fun, and it was really rewarding to be able to do that with them, and I think it'll leave a lasting impression.
Well, and I'm married to a farmer, so I get it, but I think we are losing generations of farmers. It's so important for kids to get excited about this. I mean, we will simply run out of food if we don't have people who will plant it and grow it.
Oh, absolutely. And more it's becoming popular to find things local. So I think this is a trend, and it's going to keep growing. And for kids to understand the process is great, especially if we're trying to do organic and bring things in, and just healthy eating habits is really important to encourage kids to get in the garden, understand the process, and it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, you could start with things like sunflowers. They're really easy to grow. You have these seeds, they're big enough for them to see, and they grow so fast and so beautiful. It's exciting for them.
Yeah. All right, any place you can send us, again, because I know it's very overwhelming to get the first kind of couple steps going. Where can we go to get more info other than watching the movie, which I'm going to do this weekend with my family?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the movie is what gets people excited, but if you actually go to peterrabbitthemovie.com, they have a ton of gardening tips. So does Slow Food USA. And if you also follow me on social media, Instagram at Sarah Bendrick, all of us will be able to share different types of gardening tips.
All right, I'm going to go on there now as soon as we get into the commercial break. Thank you so much. Happy gardening.
Perfect.